All right, welcome to another television series review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Desperate Housewives. Yeah, I know, I'm a guy talking about Desperate Housewives, but hear me out, it's actually pretty cool. Not just for the woman, but for men as well. There is action and drama and romance. It's got it all. It's actually quite well written. So we've got the characters. We've got Gabrielle. We've got Susan. We've got Lynette. We've got Bree, and yeah, that's about your main cast. Um, there's also Edie Britt, who is one of the people that live on Wisteria Lane, which is the fictional neighborhood in the show, and it's pretty cool to see them all sort of mingle together because their character traits are totally different. I'll get into more detail very soon on that. So, what's it about? Well, there's no one sort of topic that the show is about. To sum it up, Wisteria Lane is kind of like this elite class sort of gated community type thing, where only the well off kind of live. And it is quite interesting. The characters are totally different, and each one's got their own sort of agenda, their own flaws, and what makes them great as well. Except Susan. I fucking hate Susan. We've got the beautiful Eva Longoria playing as Gabrielle. She is quite entitled, quite bitchy, quite sassy, I might say. Um, and yeah, there's nothing really standing in her way. And God help you if you do. That's the kind of character she is. So she's quite a good addition to the show. And next we have Susan. Oh, Susan. I did not. Susan is played by Terry Hatcher. She is not my favorite character. I'm not going to go into any spoilers in case you feel like watching the show. But yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. That I mean, I suppose there's got to be one character that you don't really get along with, or you don't really like that much. I mean, if an actor can convince you to hate a character, then they're doing a brilliant job. So. Hats off to Terry Hatcher there. Next we have Felicity Huffman playing as Lynette Scarvo. Lynette is a family woman. She's a wife and a mother, and it's quite interesting to see sort of where she fits in on the street. She's kind of like struggling being a mother and burning the candle at both ends with like being a wife as well. So it's it's very interesting to see how like she manages things. She's quite level headed. Um, Not like Susan. I'm sorry, I didn't really get into too much detail about Susan's character, but basically she's a silly bitch. uh, she does really silly things, makes really silly choices, and or doesn't think at all usually, and just does things to just really rub me up the wrong way. Personally, I just can't stand her. Okay, next we have Marcia Cross playing as Bree Vanderkamp. Um, Bree is a very uptight woman who is incredibly good at baking, and nothing should be short of perfect for her. Like, it has to be like the way Bree wants it. So yeah, she's a mother as well, and she is well, yeah, she's a little bit too uptight, shall we say, and she's kind of far from the perfect mother. But that's all. I'll go into detail about that. So, um, yeah. Then we've got Nicole Sheridan as Edie Britt. Edie isn't a main character that you follow, but she is a really cool character nonetheless. That was living on the same sort of street in Wisteria Lane, like I mentioned earlier. She is a bit of a well, should we just say she's quite generous with her favors, putting it politely. Yeah, she's a bit of a skank, but you know, it makes for a fantastic addition to anyone that's on Wisteria Lane. So it's quite awesome to watch her mingle with the rest of them as well. She's kind of like this frenemy kind of thing to the other characters, and it's really awesome. So yeah, and then there's the male characters. We've got Mike Delfino, who is quite a mysterious man. You've got Carlos Solis, played by Ricardo Antonio Chavira. Yeah, sorry, I hope I said that right. He was, honestly, Carlos was one of my favorite characters. He was, like, out of all the males in the show, Carlos was the one that I mostly sort of related to. So he is very cool. Then we've got Doug Savant is Tom Scavo, Lynette's husband. He is pretty cool. A bit irritating in some areas, like the character, but you go through ups and downs in the whole show. You just sort of like, you don't know what's going to happen next, and it's never sort of gets to the point where it drags and it's boring. It's sort of like something cool happens, like, or if it does kind of die down a bit, it's a real good payoff. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And it honestly is one of the few shows that I enjoyed that didn't end on a cliffhanger or get cancelled. So that's great. Now, my only pet peeve is there are some episodes that are a little bit like, oh yeah, right, kind of thing. That wouldn't really happen, or things that kind of bum you out a little bit. But that shouldn't put you off the entire show. It's not something that can't be overlooked, for me personally anyway. But yeah, it's, for the most part, it's an incredibly entertaining show, bloody well written, and I couldn't recommend it enough. So if you've got nothing to watch, if you're jaded for all these silly bloody superhero films and shitty video games, then I highly recommend this if you haven't already seen it. I mean, if you have seen it and you enjoyed it, watch it again. And I'm sorry, but there's many characters in this show. Like, to name them all would take me all damn day. But Paul Young is one of the other significant characters in the show, played by Mark Moses. So yeah, there's, like I said, there's heaps. So definitely check it out. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.